Welcome back. Now to the top energy and agricultural stories of today. I'm joined by the Australian's Environment Editor, Graham Lloyd, to get the latest. Graham, welcome to the show. I want to start with some good news. It seems like the New South Wales Labor government is showing some common sense. Today, a review commissioned by the Minns government has recommended the life of Australia's largest coal-fired power station, Eraring, be extended beyond 2025 by making a deal with operator Origin Energy. This comes after AGL agreed to keep Victoria's Loy Yang A power station available until mid-2035. Graham, the chooks seem to be coming home to roost. Politicians who've spent years demonising coal-fired power now have to sit in the big chair and seem to be realising they need at least some of it to keep the lights on while the renewable and net zero agenda falters. Am I missing something?
Well, good evening, Amanda. That's absolutely right. The truth floats to the surface eventually. And after the years we've had arguing about what they call a capacity market, where baseload generators are kept in position should they be needed because of a shortfall from renewables, we finally got one. The states had argued that it could only be done by renewable sources, but really that's been thrown out of the window by the decisions by Victoria and New South Wales to really act as a backstop for the big coal generators in the states. If you like, there's still a cost in this for consumers who are going to be paying to make sure there's something in place to back up something they've already paid for. And there's a bit of an opportunity cost in demonising fossil fuels as part of the debate. They've really missed the opportunity to invest in gas, which would probably be a better environmental outcome. But certainly in terms of securing power supplies, these are really welcome developments.
Yeah, you're quite right. That blinkered approach to the pursuit of net zero and eschewing traditional fuels and transitional fuels seems to have been somewhat unwise. The usual experts now seem to be coming out against the coalition's campaign for nuclear energy, which, as far as I can tell, is the only form of cheap, stable, zero emissions baseload power we currently have. Former Chief Scientist Alan Finkel, the bloke who once said that by going net zero, Australia will achieve, quote, virtually nothing, close quote, when it comes to changing the climate, says it would take decades to develop a local nuclear energy industry. Meanwhile, the United Arab Emirates has built a massive nuclear power station in 10 years from woe to go. So, meanwhile, we have former Snowy Hydro Chief Executive Paul Broad saying if the transition to renewables ever occurs, it will take 80 years and not 8. Graham, why are the experts and the climate hysterics so against nuclear energy when it's clear from the experience of other countries, whether it's the UAE, Korea, China, many others, that it has an important role to play and delivers something different to wind and solar?
Well, I think, if you were cynical, you would say they're perhaps unknowingly, but providing a protection racket for the renewables industry. The biggest opponents to renewables and the ones who are making the loudest calls about the cost of nuclear is the renewable energy industry. I think Alan Finkel has been a supporter of nukes in the past, and the comments he made that it is a decades-long transition is absolutely right. But if you don't start, you don't get there. And certainly Australia has some very serious roadblocks to even considering this at this point in time. And the worrying thing is that even though there's not a lot of real-world examples of these small nuclear reactors online at the moment, there is a massive push from governments in the US, the UK and elsewhere who realise they will be needed in the future. And Australia really, even with a decades-long horizon, needs to be in the position to get on board as that unfolds.
I share your view. There may be a long lead time to remove legislative blocks and gather the expertise and technical talent, but let's get started because we're going to need it. Graham, before we go, Environment Minister Tanya Plibersek has made changes to the Murray-Darling Basin scheme today, meaning that wide-scale water buybacks from farmers for, quote, environmental flows will begin again. Take us through what impact this is going to have on agricultural communities all the way from country Queensland down to South Australia.
Well, Amanda, I've been following this for a decade, as I'm sure you and your viewers have. Tanya Plibersek has today really delivered on the environmental expectation of there being another 450 gigalitres of water. And she's reintroduced the ethic of water buybacks. These are very controversial because when you take water away from a rural community, the chances are you limit the capacity of that community to generate income, sustain jobs and really survive. The coalition had a policy of investing in water efficiency, which still remains in place. But it's a little unsure from today's announcement. There's an extra 3 years there, but will water buybacks be by compulsion or will it be from willing sellers? Victoria has said, look, they're not interested in selling their water rights. They want to preserve their agricultural communities. And this is the debate that is going to ignite when it comes time to actually try and secure those additional amounts of water. And by the way, the environment groups pretty much came out as a voice today and welcomed the new plan, but said it didn't go far enough.
It's very important we see the detail there, a world of difference between offering to buy back and compelling it. Graham, Lloyd, thank you very much for your contribution tonight.